How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. And 80s television shows and movies always figured out a way to find their way onto game consoles, particularly the NES. And only a couple of publishers really delved into just handling all of the TV and movie game adaptations, right? Acclaim was one of them. So Acclaim got the rights to today's game and ran with it. Today's game was quite notable because it featured what many consider to be the greatest television vehicle of all time, because it talked. Of course, I'm talking about KITT, the 1982 Pontiac Trans Am driven by Michael Knight. And the show I'm talking about is Knight Rider. Knight Rider, obviously later on, Acclaim got the rights. They brought in Pack-In Video to do a game based on the television property. And what we got was okay. It's a little stiff in spots, but it's not awful. Except for one thing. Today, we're going to take a look at the NES port of Knight Rider. Now, before I get too far into this, there is one thing that sticks out like a sore thumb about this game. There is no rendition of the Knight Rider theme music in this game. There is a rendition of that music in the PC Engine port. There are fan-made chiptune versions that would have worked on the NES all over YouTube. The original game? Nothing. It's frustrating. But now that I got that out of the way, let's talk about the game itself. It's not a bad video game. Despite what certain gaming personalities on YouTube would tell you, it's not an awful game. Do I wish that you could use a third person behind the car view to maneuver around the game, maneuver around the road? Sure. But that doesn't make this game impossible to play. You control KITT, who is, which means that you play Michael Knight. And you've been brought in to basically chase down some terrorists who have stolen munitions from a military base. And you basically chasing them all around the country. You start out in San Francisco. And you chase them to the East Coast, around and back, and finish the game in Los Angeles. And you use KITT. KITT has a limited amount of fuel. You have to destroy certain vehicles in order to get fuel. You have missiles you have to get. You destroy certain enemies to get missiles. Only certain color cars can be destroyed or should be destroyed. It's actually not hard to really follow. The problem is a lot of it just comes at you really, really fast. And your gas does not last very long at all. It's kind of true to form right now. But you can retrieve gas, and between levels you upgrade your car based on what things that you've accumulated over the level. Kind of like RC Pro-Am or Super Sprint and other games like that. And you build up your shields, you build up your turbo, you build up your fuel, stuff like that, make the game a lot easier to play. And it's not a bad, it's not a bad video game. It's just that it takes getting used to. Once you get used to it, yeah, it's okay. There's also, in addition to just the basic missions in the game, which do have a password save, so yay for that. There's also a drive mode where you basically, there are no enemies on the road, you're just driving. And you just roll until you run out of fuel, I guess. Again, not bad, but, you know, it's kind of useless if you ask me. But, hey, what you gonna do? Now, if you want a copy of Knight Rider, Knight Rider is actually not an expensive video game. You can technically get a copy for $10 or less, which is always welcome. It's definitely a sweet spot. But yeah, Knight Rider isn't a bad video game, and because it's so inexpensive, you do pretty good for your money. Would I beat myself over the head to get a copy though? Nah, because Rad Racer's right there, and Rad Racer, if I remember right, is a lot more plentiful and a lot less expensive. This has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah, Fat Cat doing what? Monty, put the cheese wheel. Somebody go get Monty.